Let's spill some tea.
Let's Spill Some Tea is fueled by Artillery Tea Company. It's the only America First veteran-owned tea brand out there. Their mission is to maximize flavor with whole leaf blends and chemical-free tea bags. No junk, just real tea. Here's a tactical advantage, folks. Each bag brews not just once, but twice. Just go to artillerytco.com and use the code LIBERTY for 20% off of your first order. That's artillerytco.com. Again, use the word LIBERTY for 20% off of your order. Premium tea that's mission-driven and brewed for the brave. All right, let's get right into what's in the cup today. One of history's greatest aviation mysteries may finally be closing in on answers. Newly discovered photos from 1938, taken just a year after Amelia Earhart vanished, appear to show a metallic object submerged in a South Pacific lagoon. Earhart, a trailblazing pilot and American hero, was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean and inspired a generation of aviators. Researchers now believe the object could be the remains of the same plane she flew during her attempt to become the first woman to circumnavigate the globe. President Trump recently announced plans to declassify all government records concerning Amelia Earhart's final flight. Here to talk more about what could be a major historic discovery is historian and author Bill Federer. Bill, welcome to the show. He is also the host of American Minute on radio and Faith and History on TV. So good to see you, Bill.
Karen, it's great to be with you.
So why don't you put in perspective how significant this potential find is historically and otherwise?
Right. Well, you have Orville and Wilbur Wright, 1906, developed flight. 1927 is when Charles Lindbergh flew across the ocean Atlantic solo. And it was just 5 years later that Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Little background, Anne Lindbergh, who was Charles's wife, she's also wrote a book called North to the Orient. She was flying over the Alaska and so forth. And then Bessie Coleman, she was the first Black female pilot, and she was a contemporary during this time. So just a little background there. Well, Amelia Earhart, she went to Columbia University in New York. Matter of fact, she wrote a letter to her mother while she was a student in 1919. And when there was liberalism, she says, "Don't think for an instant that I would ever become an atheist or even a doubter, nor lose faith in the Episcopal Church's teachings as a whole. That's impossible," right? But she was talking about, the different liberal stuff taking place on the campus there. But she was a trailblazer. She set records. She was teaching aeronautical engineering there at Purdue University. But she wanted to fly an equatorial flight around the world. So instead of going up north, where it's a little bit shorter, this would be the long route. And she was headed to Howland Island, and there was some Japanese-controlled areas there, and she was in that South Pacific area. But they think it was radio problems, that there were people waiting on Howland Island for communication. But when you're that high up in the air, and it's one teeny little island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, there could have been weather or clouds, but the most accepted theory is that they ran out of gas and they had to ditch. Whether they survived the landing or not, this little isolated island, there wasn't food or fresh water there, so they could have died there. It's a big mystery. For several years, they thought, well, maybe they landed on a Japanese-controlled island, and this was just prior to World War II beginning, so 1937, so just a few years before the 1941 Pearl Harbor, and Japan was expanding, but that theory has been pretty well debunked. So they're now, Trump has released records, and they're wanting to do, Purdue University paid for the plane, and so they're helping to pioneer this effort to research around Howland Island. They've seen through satellite images and so forth some anomalies in the lagoon there. So maybe we'll get some answers to this
So, Bill, I'm
story that's
curious
been going
how.
on. Even the Night at the Museum movie had Amelia Earhart story in there.
Right. Bill, I'm curious in 20 seconds or so, how confident are you that this latest information, or at least this latest thought, might turn up something that will give us more answers?
Yeah, well, being it's so remote and it has not been developed. I mean, they're still finding Japanese planes from World War II and sunken
Okay.
ships, and so it's pretty well untouched in that remote area of the Pacific. So I'm hoping that they find something because she
Okay.
is an American hero. Atchison, Kansas, where
Absolutely.
Benedictine University is. That's where Clarence Thomas went. And my
Hmm.
son went to Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas for a while, but that's where Amelia Earhart was from. And so the whole country looks to this answer for this American woman hero in our history.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that something comes of it. Bill, always good to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Terrence.
All right. Well, folks, we want to know what you think about all of this as well. Let us know on Getter and Rumble. Log on, let your voice be heard. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say. All right, let's take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to be headed down to Wall Street for the opening bell and insight into how to hold on to your hard-earned cash. That's ahead.